A little bit back, I reviewed not one, but all of the old 5-inch McFarlane Assassin's Creed figures. I might have gotten a little bit obsessive, but that's sort of on brand considering I've written the equivalent word count of a thesis paper looking at the series with a briefish history of Assassin's Creed here on my channel. Those figures are mostly pretty good for what they are and when they were, but there were some downsides too. That size is much smaller than the 7 inches I usually prefer, though 6 inches will suffice if the quality is appealing enough. Don't you dare quote mine me on that. I would much rather put it on merch on my own, thank you. The paint job on the lighter whites tended to leave something to be desired. Faces could look a bit off at times, and McFarlane of the day felt even more heavily like a statue company that begrudgingly included joints than it does now, something I discussed recently with the Arkhamverse Batman. Now, McFarlane actually hasn't had the license for Assassin's Creed since after Syndicate, and just recently it has gone back to NECA! Or, NECA? National Entertainment Collectibles Association. I'm going to pronounce it NECA. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm being a dumbass. I actually didn't have any of their full-scale stuff prior to this, but I have been aware of their work for a long time. They do all sorts of high-quality horror figures, and there has been a gorgeous Portal 2 Chell I have been desperately telling myself not to spend aftermarket prices on because I have no money after spending it all on the old 5-inch McFarlane Assassin's Creed figures. NECA's relevance is actually that they had the license back before even McFarlane did, and produced a line of figures for the Ezio trilogy in a proper 7-inch scale. With the license returning to them more than a decade later, they've released 2 current Ezio figures, Brotherhood and Revelations, and hopefully will expand more from there. I'm not sure if these are the same molds, or semi the same, or completely original from back then, and I just can't tell since it's from the same source material, and I also don't own any. But I imagine it's somewhere in between. I've just picked up Brotherhood Ezio for now, because that is his best look and the best Assassin's Creed in my expert and therefore indisputable opinion. Go ahead and dispute that in the comments if you would be so kind. And it's also one that McFarlane hadn't covered previously, so it's going to be a new look on a figure for me. I may pick up the Revelations version down the road. How well does NECA handle this version of Ezio? Just to start, this box is fucking smexy. They used to just do that whatever plastic, but this new mostly cardboard packaging is nice. It's actually smaller than McFarlane's current wastefully large boxes, which I prefer. Crucially though is that it looks thought out and very aesthetically pleasing. I never keep toy packaging anymore, but I'm going to feel a little guilty when getting rid of this one. Let's take a closer look. Guys, I've tried this accent more than once now and it's just not working for me, so you're gonna have to suffer through this, I'm sorry. I have always fought alone, but one man cannot defeat the entire Templar Order, so I have recruited my fellow assassins. Together we will cleanse the corruption from the holy city of Rome. Together we will forge the Brotherhood. God, I am gonna get cancelled by Italians. And open. Just at a glance, this is everything I like to see in an action figure. Sufficient accessories, alternate hands, even an alternate head. We're going to set that aside for right now and just focus on the main fella. As I mentioned, this is my favorite default robe set, not just for Ezio, but generally for the series. Technically, it's even something of a Roman Brotherhood uniform, since your recruits also get this general outfit when they are promoted to Master Assassins. What makes this interesting is that, technically, this look isn't necessarily as accurate as it is iconic. I'm not blaming NECA for this is more on Ubisoft, who used this look in pretty much all of the promotional material. It's sort of a similar situation we saw with McFarlane's version of Altair. We commonly see Altair with knives in this configuration on either side of his belt, which that figure made the best of by making the knives separate accessories that can be removed. However, in the main games, Altair does not use that setup. The knives are all over to one side. Tons of the promotional stuff and physical merchandise get that wrong. Technically, since that video, I have realized Altair did use that configuration in Bloodlines, so it is still canon that he looked like that at some point. And bluntly, I don't think the 5-inch scale could have done removable knives on the same side either. To de-rabbit trail myself, this is a similar case. NECA has gone for the well-known look in lieu of the accuracy. Technically, Ezio starts out with only one bracer and different shoulder armor when he wakes up from being bullet-roofied in Rome, and when you upgrade armor from there, more of the robes themselves get covered by armor pieces, such as here in the middle. For something I'll be displaying, I prefer this. The detailing in the cloth on the costume is just so nice, both here and in the game, but the shinier metal of the shoulder and both bracers really balance out the look much better. The white of his robes does a good job balancing the look of being weathered, which sort of naturally happens with white on plastic figures like this, without just looking sloppy. Off of that white, the red and metal elements both pop appropriately well, with the more neutral leather colors quite literally tying things together. Ezio also has a good degree of articulation, as much as can be reasonably considered within the shape of his robes. The hooded head does end up with some places you can tell it is unattached, especially when the corners come popping out from the collar where they are supposed to be tucked in, but since that gives him mobility and interchangeability, it's a worthwhile exchange. The crucial part is that his face reasonably looks like the dude. And yeah, this is a close Ezio. Hooded, he looks perfect. Let's swap heads. This is a man just barely starting to feel middle-aged in the game, and he looks the part in some of the subtler wrinkles and the shorter portion of his beard. I do find it funny that the man kept his ponytail all through his 40s, but that's different. Amusingly, this is the second 7-inch assassin I've opened in as many reviews in a row with big dangly ribbons off the back of their heads. There's no takeaway specific to that observation, I just love how they will both kill your ass dead while looking as fabulous as their heart's desire. Wholesome, really, if it weren't for the murder. Let's go down to his hands. There's some realistic hand veins, which is great detail work. And obviously, several configurations. By default, he starts with his fists, because Assassin's Creed used to let you switch to fisticuffs at your own discretion on the fly, until Unity had to come along and ruin the fun for the rest of us. He also has his flat, open hands, so you can recreate the iconic cover pose from Assassin's Creed 2, some hands to allow him to hold accessories, and one that even looks sort of like a thumbs up. Good job, buddy. God, I wish Ezio were my real dad. His first accessories are his hidden blades, which just go in his sleeves, something that also wouldn't be very feasible at a smaller scale. These are exactly what they are supposed to be. I don't know how NECA could have gotten them wrong with this simplicity, and NECA did not get them wrong. A+, no other comments. The sword is the captain's sword, which was also used heavily in the promotional material, and was a somewhat early sword you can unlock in the game, so it is a good choice for this figure. Crucially, it looks really cool. The fancy elements on the hilt guard are probably why they used it in the marketing. Finally, the crossbow, which is also very iconic for players of Ezio's trilogy, Brotherhood especially. It's the good kind of overpowered, where it's a blast to use without completely derailing your other ranged options. So, like, you don't have to feel bad if you elect to use the hidden gun instead. All in all, this is probably my favorite figure in this scale I've gotten in a long time. At about $30, depending on which retailer you're shopping through, he's a little more than some equivalent figures, though Hasbro is only barely behind this with far less bang for your buck. And McFarlane is trying to push this price point on indistinguishable premium figures, so I won't really complain about that. Hell, that's a way more reasonable price than what the old versions go for now. Back then, the Brotherhood robes had a few recolors. We'll see if they do that again this time, though I'd prefer they'd use resources to cover new characters they never made before. Since they've currently only announced these two, I'm not sure if they only licensed a limited range of things, such as just the Ezio games, or if they're just testing to see how profitable returning to the franchise is, but he definitely has me wanting more. NECA, I am being serious. I will do sinful things for someone in exchange for you guys releasing a default robes Mirage Basim. Please, send me an email.